and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we're going to talk to the fire department about some new programs they have to involve youth in the fire service. My guest is Cameron Dailey. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
This is exciting. Like, there's not one overarching goal here. You tell us why you guys want to give your time to work with youth.
Well, we feel like working with youth gives us an advantage to getting in the community early. Youth are, again, it's going to be your future community. So the earlier you can get into the community, the better off you are. We decided to do a couple of programs, target a certain segment of youth initially with Camp Prospect, which was at-risk boys youth. We kind of partnered with the PLC, which is Performance Learning Center.
And that's the non-traditional high school, mostly high school. Actually, it's not even just high school. It's middle school and high school. It's kids who need a different setting, who maybe been bounced out of their home schools for medical reasons, for learning reasons, it could be a whole host of reasons.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's a way of pulling them back into the educational process.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's a good definition there. You know, you've got kids who are at risk for a variety of reasons.
Correct. And we felt like, you know, we didn't really know the kids, so we had the PLC identify the kids that they felt like were at risk and would be a good fit for our program. Our program, again, being that we wanted to introduce them to the fire service, give them a positive light or positive outlook on life. They may have had some differences in their home life, but we wanted to give them something to look forward to. There's a multitude of things out here and a multitude of resources that can be provided. So initially, it wasn't necessarily for, per se, just fire service, but we wanted, again, to open them up to a multitude of things that, you know, that were positive and give them a positive outlook in that round.
And this camp was for boys, but it is somewhat modeled on or inspired by one you guys have done 2 years in a row now for girls through the Girl Scouts organization to try to give girls, that high adventure experience, to give them some knowledge, and maybe eventually to get a few more women into our fire division.
Yes, ma'am, it was. Actually, I was lucky enough to be the officer at the station where one of the young ladies was part of Camp Fury. And we all sat around the table one day and we were like, you know, I think we're missing something. It's really nice that they have a girls' camp and to introduce the young ladies to the fire service, but we kind of don't really have anything for that small segment of young males that may be slightly at risk. So one of the young men of my group, Tracy Williams, said, hey, you know, let's look at tackling at-risk youth. And that's where Camp Prospect and Camp Prospect mentoring came from, where we kind of meet with the young men twice a month. We talk to them, they talk with us, we play games, we kind of make it a very easy atmosphere so they can open up to us and tell us some of their problems, and we can maybe get help or resolve them if we all work together, you know, to do that. From that, you know, things have definitely evolved. The chief has come out with a few things, and one of the newest things is going to be the Cadet Program. We're now going to be offering the Cadet Program for 14 to 19-year-olds. This program will have two segments. There will be a junior cadet program for 14 to 15-year-olds, and then there will be a senior program for 16 to 19-year-olds. You have that option at the age of 16 to go into junior volunteer program. So again, you have that option to come up as a prospect mentor. The cadet programs has a few more stipulations on it. It's open to males and females.
And you know, that's a winner. I can't tell you how many boys drop out of Boy Scouts because they become interested in girls. And how many, you know, I think that when you have high school kids, there's not those divisions that there used to be, and they're comfortable together. And so you're also serving the whole population that way. Well,
and you think about it, as firemen or fire persons, they haven't quite changed the terminology yet.
We'll go with
firefighters. That sounds good. There are male and females in the organization, and you know, we are always, you know, looking for females to come into the fire service, and you know, they have to work together and culminate together on a regular basis. So why not start early off in a cadet program?
So as I see it, this is going to serve a real variety of purposes. You've got you're mentoring, you're making sure that the city staff through the fire division is connecting with its citizens.
Yes.
You're working with high-risk youth. We're keeping them busy. We're teaching them skills. We're giving them a lot of stuff to do, giving them some personal mentoring. We're growing our volunteer firefighters.
Absolutely. And Hampton has a great volunteer system that's been around for a long time.
We do. But when you look at the awards recognition of the volunteers, you see that they skew toward the older generation to some extent. So recruiting and filling that with young folks keeps that volunteer core alive.
Correct.
And then ultimately, perhaps some portion of these will grow into being our full-time professional firefighting staff as well.
That's the great hope. There's a great transition. There's a great potential there to take a young man from 14, and you're basically doing early career development to go from 14 and potentially at the age of 18 years old, he could be your new firefighter. And to think that you got him right here from your own community is always a plus. When you're saying, I'm growing them from home and they're staying at home to be part of your own community.
So you guys are going to do this. You've got your volunteer group working.
Yes.
And so on the ongoing basis, the cadet program, they'll meet with different people, or you'll have kind of a one-on-one relationship with the same kid?
Well, what we're having is it's going to be a group setting. So we're trying to do mostly everything with group. Again, just like any program with growth, there may be change. But initially, it's going to be mostly group. We find that group, they're most comfortable when they're with their peers.
Yeah, they are.
And even though some of us may be a little older,
hey.
they feel like we're old.
Right,
but again, it's okay. Again, it's just part of the system. I'm sure when I was a little bit younger, I probably felt the same way.
So you guys will work with us. Now, at the camp that you guys have had, was it run like the girls' camp where they carry hoses,
Yes, ma'am.
burn a lot of that energy,
Burn a lot of
working.
energy.
That's great.
They eat a lot, too. They eat a lot, I tell you, yes.
Firefighters are kind of known for their cuisine, though. I know that might be a little bit of a stereotype, but you guys are good cooks, make the big meals.
We do our best, and if we mess it up, we eat it anyway, and we keep right on going. So, but yes, we're going to do a lot of the same firefighting type activities. I think I'm putting a big challenge out there this year, because what I want to do is I want to have these guys by the end of camp have the ability to do what we call a 1410. It's kind of a firefighter evolution that we do in the fire service. But I want to take a group of young guys who have no idea, what we do or have any acclimation to the hoses and things that we operate, to be able to do that in the end of a week's time. It's quite a big challenge, but
wow.
I think we can do it with the group that we have.
Well, there's a lot of, physical fitness that firefighters have to pass and tests that they have to do. And that's hard for our kids. One of the national statistics, and the military's having trouble recruiting, people aren't as fit as they used to be.
Right.
That's a real challenge for them. So when you work with folks younger and you build that level of fitness, it's got to be good for the kids whether or not they go into fire and rescue.
Well, and you have to understand that it's like anything else. It's where am I going and what is my goal? So if you set a goal and you give them something to obtain to, it's like, we'll start putting a few things together to make sure that we hit those goals. So I think, again, you getting them young, they understand the type of activities they're going to have to handle and they're going to have to, do on a regular basis. They'll get that physical ability to the level that they need to get it to.
Well, that sounds exciting. Now, are you going to teach them rescue type stuff as well, or is this really focused on because most of you guys are both. You do fire, you do EMS, it's a joint service.
Well, we actually have a CPR certification, which is part of on the EMS side that we're going to do. We're going to do a lot of fire. We're going to do some first aid. So we're going to try to give them a little bit of both. In the end of the week, we're actually going to have them go to Riverside, so they'll do a little bit of trauma and get an understanding of what's happening when people have bad accidents and things of that such. So we're going to try to get a little bit of everything culminated in there, but mostly jobs that are related to fire and EMS.
Fire and rescue.
Yes.
That sounds great. Well, how do you see this, playing out over a few years?
Well, the lucky goal is, if we could follow a few young men that have started a program, and really, let's say in 4 to 5 years, where did they come to? My success would be, one, you get a couple of young men that make a change in their life. Doesn't necessarily mean that they become firefighters, but from that fire service, they gain, you know, some confidence, some self-esteem, and maybe a higher character than they may have had coming in. That's really all you can ever ask for, is just to have some type of effect or change on the community.
Well, you know, kids need something, and it's not always the same thing for every kid. It might be football for one. It might be, you know, golf or tennis. It might be arts. And in the military, the JROTC programs in some of our schools bring a lot of kids along. This is one more way that kids might connect. And, you know, a lot of kids grow up wanting to be a firefighter. Like, it's seen as cool when you're a little kid, and then something falls off sometimes. So you're going to reignite that spark, to use a fire metaphor there.
I've already reignited my own spark. I think the little kid in me has actually gotten excited. I don't know about the kids, but I've been very excited about the camp, and you know, the young men that are involved have also been very excited. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, we had a kickball challenge. You know, it's a sport that doesn't take a lot of skill, but you'd be amazed how many muscles and you actually work physically to do that. And,
so they're going to keep you young. You're going to help them mature.
Yes.
And it's going to be a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. That's our goal. That's another one of our main goals. Again, you reignite everyone when you bring kids and you have kids involved. You'd be amazed how many people who were maybe a little grumpy, all of a sudden, you know what? It's for the kids.
All right. So if somebody out there watching this says, oh, I want to get involved, or I know a kid who wants to get involved, we can call 311 and get in touch with you, or we could call the fire department.
Or you can call the fire department. The fire department also has a website on the Hampton.gov's website, and you can also get there and be referred as well.
Thank you, Cameron, for coming by today. I think we've all learned a lot.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope if you know a young student who would benefit from this, you'll get in touch with the fire department. And it's just a great way to connect the fire department with our community and to get our community more involved in our fire department and helping give back. Thanks for watching.